You wake up, and for one single second, everything is normal. The room is dark. The air is still. Your body feels heavy in that comfortable way, the way it does when sleep was deep and real. 1 second of nothing, and then it hits. Not a sound, not a voice, just a feeling. Something is different. Not wrong, not broken, just shifted. Like the weight of the world reorganized itself overnight and landed somewhere new. You reach for your phone. Force of habit. You don't even think about it. And the screen lights up. One notification, then 5, then 20, then too many to count. Messages, headlines, opinions, reactions. Not about something you did today. Not about a mistake you made this morning or a decision you made last night. About who you are. About what you represent. About what people think of you. People who have never met you, never spoken to you, never sat in the same room as you. And before you even get out of bed, before your feet touch the floor, you realize something that changes everything. You are not just living your life anymore. You are the headline. You stand up slowly. The room is quiet, expensive, minimal. Everything in it was chosen with intention. The furniture, the light, the space between things. Nothing here is accidental. And yet, standing in the middle of it, it doesn't feel simple. Because you are not simple anymore. You used to be a person, a kid with ideas, someone who wanted to make something, say something, leave something behind. But somewhere along the way, that changed. Now you are something else entirely. You are a symbol, a reference point, something people use to define their own opinions. When people hear your name, they don't just think of you. They think of everything you represent to them. Every interview, every controversy, every moment that went viral, every headline that was half true. You are a brand, a voice, a cultural argument that never ends. Some people admire you deeply. They have followed every move you've made. They feel like you gave them something. A sound, a feeling, a permission to be different. Some people don't understand you, not because they haven't tried, but because what you're doing doesn't fit into the boxes they're comfortable with. And that makes them uncomfortable. And discomfort, for most people, turns into criticism. And some people are simply waiting, watching, patient, waiting for the moment you fall so they can say they saw it coming. And the strangest part of all of it? Every single one of them feels like they know you. Not the version of you that wakes up at 3 in the morning, with an idea that won't leave. Not the version of you that doubts. Not the version that gets it wrong and has to sit with that in private. They know the version they built. The one assembled from clips and quotes and secondhand stories. And that version lives in the world without you. Your thoughts don't move slowly. They never have. While other people wake up gradually, stretching into the day, easing into consciousness, your mind is already running. Already building. Already 3 steps ahead of where your body is. Ideas don't arrive one at a time for you. They stack. They collide. They interrupt each other before any one of them is finished. A melody, a silhouette, a concept that doesn't have a name yet, but feels urgent and real and necessary. A line that could be a lyric or a statement or both. A vision for something that doesn't exist yet, but should. You don't just see what is, you see what could be. And that sounds like a gift. And it is, but it is also exhausting in a way that is almost impossible to explain to someone who doesn't experience it. Because the gap between what you see in your head and what exists in the world, that gap is enormous. And bridging it requires everything. Your time, your energy, your reputation, your relationships. You've crossed that bridge before. You've taken the thing living in your imagination and forced it into reality through sheer will. And sometimes people understood immediately. They felt what you were trying to make them feel. But other times, they didn't. Other times you showed them the thing and they looked at it like it was wrong, like you were wrong. And that is a specific kind of pain that doesn't go away easily because you weren't trying to be difficult. You weren't trying to provoke. You were just trying to show them what you could already see. So you speak louder. You push harder. You say it again and again in different ways, different mediums, different contexts. Not because you are desperate for attention, but because you are desperate to be understood. And being understood comes with a cost. Everything you do is watched. Not some things, everything. The things you say in interviews, recorded, clipped, stripped of context, and spread across the internet in under an hour. The things you don't say, analyze just as carefully. What did the silence mean? Why didn't he address it? What is he hiding? The way you dress, the people you're seen with, the places you go, the events you skip. There is no version of your life that is private anymore. Not really. Even the moments that feel private. Someone is watching. Someone is waiting. Someone has a phone. And the world doesn't just watch, it narrates. People who have never spoken to you will describe your intentions with complete confidence. People who have never been in the same room as you will tell others what you were really thinking. What you really meant, what you were actually trying to do. And the version of you they describe spreads. It moves faster than the truth. It reaches further. It gets repeated until it becomes fact to people who only ever heard it secondhand. You start to understand something uncomfortable. You don't control your image anymore. You haven't for a long time. The world took it, and it remade it in its own image, according to its own fears and projections and needs. And there is almost nothing you can do about it. You can speak, you can clarify, you can correct the record, but by the time your correction reaches someone, they've already made up their mind. You are surrounded by people almost constantly. There's always someone nearby, an assistant, a collaborator, a manager, a friend, or someone who functions like one. The rooms you walk into are rarely empty. There's always movement, always conversation, always someone who needs something from you or wants to give something to you. And yet, there is a specific kind of silence that lives inside all of that noise. A silence that comes from not being truly known by any of the people around you. Some of them agree with everything you say. Not because they always believe it, but because disagreeing feels risky. Because you are not just a person to them. You are a position, a platform, something they are connected to. And protecting that connection matters more to them than honesty. Others are careful, every word measured before it leaves their mouth, every reaction considered. They're not dishonest. They're just aware of who you are. And that awareness makes everything slightly artificial. And slowly, without meaning to, you stop knowing who is real. You stop being able to tell the difference between someone who genuinely cares and someone who is simply very good at appearing to. And that changes you. It makes you quieter in some rooms, louder in others. It makes you test people without telling them they're being tested. It is a strange and specific loneliness. Not the loneliness of being alone, the loneliness of being surrounded and still unseen. There are moments that don't exist on camera. No interviews, no performances, no public presence of any kind. Just a room, just silence, just you. And in those moments, everything that you've been carrying catches up. The pressure of being a symbol when you just want to be a person. The exhaustion of performing confidence when you're not always sure. The weight of a legacy that is still being written by you and by everyone else simultaneously. You think back. You think back to a time before all of this, when creating felt like the purest thing in the world. When you could make something just because it excited you. When the only standard you were trying to meet was your own. When a song was just a song. When an idea was just an idea. When getting it wrong just meant trying again. That version of creating doesn't exist for you anymore. Now, every idea carries weight before it even becomes real. It will be debated, it will be misread, it will be used as evidence for something by supporters and critics equally. It will mean something to people who had nothing to do with making it. And you have to carry that knowledge into every creative decision. Every idea is heavier now. Not because you became less, but because what you make became more than just yours. You want to be free. It sounds simple. It is the most human thing in the world to want to exist without consequence, to speak without every word being cataloged, to create without every decision being scrutinized. But freedom at this level is not free. Every time you exercise it, the world reacts. Sometimes the reaction is electric. People feel it. They connect with it. The thing you made reaches someone in a way you never anticipated, and they tell you it changed something for them. And those moments are real. They matter. They are the reason you keep going. But other times, the reaction is different. Other times, the world takes what you made and turns it into a controversy, a debate, a reason to reassess everything that came before it. And you start to feel the tension between two versions of yourself. The version that creates freely, says everything, risks everything, holds nothing back. And the version that calculates, considers the consequences, chooses the battles, protects the legacy. And the question that lives between them is being fully yourself worth what it costs? Or is there a version of you the world would accept more easily? You look at the phone again. Still there, still glowing, still full of everything the world thinks about you today. And for a moment, you feel it, the real temptation. Not to disappear, not to give up, just to put it down, to step back from all of it. The noise, the narrative, the constant negotiation between who you are and who the world says you are. To just exist, quietly, privately, without all of this. But then something settles in. A clarity that doesn't feel like peace, but feels like truth. This is not noise. This is what it costs to be seen at this level. This is the exchange. You gave the world your voice, your vision, your art. And in return, the world gave you its opinion. Permanently, loudly, without asking if you were ready. That was always the deal. Because here is what nobody tells you before you reach this level. Success at this scale doesn't simplify your life. It multiplies everything. The joy is bigger, but the pressure is bigger. The connection is deeper, but the loneliness is deeper. The impact is real, but so is the cost. You are carrying a version of yourself that the world built, and that version follows you everywhere, into every room, every conversation, every new thing you try to create. And there is no going back from that. There is no returning to the version of yourself that existed before anyone was watching. That person is gone. Not lost, just transformed into something the whole world has a relationship with now. So maybe the real question was never, what would it feel like to be Kanye West? Maybe the real question is the one that's been underneath this whole time. Would you still want to be yourself if the entire world had an opinion about it?